Hello, how are you guys doing? We are back again with another video, and this one, hopefully, ideally, is only going to have a single cut, which is going to be at the end of this intro and at the beginning of the actual subject of the video. I forgot the cut I make in between the actual thing, the subject matter, and the outro. Uh, my bad. Hopefully, it'll be around 15 to 20 minutes long, as most of my videos have been, and we're just going to be focusing on a single argument. Just a single argument, not an online post or anything, but a very common argument that a lot of people tend to make, and one that I think just is really dumb. I think it's very juvenile, if you will. So, yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say for this intro. And yeah, let's get into it. So, what are we going to be talking about? Well, we are going to be talking about an argument that goes pretty simply. And what that argument essentially is that it says, I'll put it on screen here, you did not choose which country to be born in. You did not choose where you were born, so it is foolish to be proud of it. And I don't think the text will be the exact same, but the argument that I put on screen there is pretty much the same thing that I said. And this is commonly said by people who tend to not be proud of their country, and I think that it's just really dumb. I think it's really dumb, like I said in the intro. But why is it dumb? Because obviously I can't just say it's dumb without giving my 2 cents on it. So that's what I'm going to do. So this argument could theoretically apply to not just your nationality or where you were born, but it could also apply to other things about you, things you didn't choose. Things like your first and last name and your religion. Now, of course, there's some things to talk about with both of those. I'll get into them later. But with your name and your religion, what is something, let's use religion, because a name, you're typically not arguing about a name. How do you defend your religion? What is the thing that you're always going to use when defending it? Well, you're going to use basic logic and reasoning, and of course religion does require some belief and some faith, but usually you're going to be using logic to defend your faith, or even defend your not faith, defend atheism too. So what is stopping that from also going to everything else? Just because you were born in a country doesn't mean that that's the only reason that you can be proud of it. For example, no theologian has ever won a debate about religion by saying that he was just born with it, and so it's good and it's right and it's correct. It is the true religion, and the God or gods in it are the real ones, because they were just born like that. They usually have more than that to back it up with, and that's something that only other people with those experiences can truly grasp. But that's a little too much for right now. And what the main point basically is that when you have a belief like my country is great, or that country is good, or what it's doing is right, you need more. You're almost always going to use more than just well, I was born. And when it's a foreign country that you weren't born in, you have to use logic and defend it with actual evidence and reasoning, not just saying you were born there and therefore it can do no wrong. That's the fault in this argument. The argument that you cannot be proud of your nation, it's foolish to be proud of your nation because you didn't choose to be born there. It's assuming that being born there is the only reason to be proud of it. But in truth, it's really not. And if it was, then yeah, there would be no reason to be proud of where you're from. But when you're from a country, I'm from America, and if you're listening to this, you are likely from America too. I've seen my analytics, even though they're not very big, but I think almost every one of my viewers is from the US. If you're from the US, a culturally rich, despite what some people may tell you, historically rich, very famous country, I think there's a lot of reasons to be proud of it, and no one, I think, should really be able to tell you otherwise. But let's actually talk. I said earlier there's some important things to mention when talking about religion in your name, and we'll get into those now. So, like I said, a name is something that you're not really going to be arguing about. A name is just a name. Like, I don't think probably not going to be coming up with reasons why to defend it, and you're probably not going to really be proud of your name. Like, I mean, yeah, my name, and I wouldn't want to change it, but I mean, you can't really think of a reason for that because you have never been really forced or compelled to see a reason for why you need that. And now, to change your name, or to change your religion, to change that would be a pretty easy task. If I wanted to change my religion from Christianity to anything, that isn't that difficult. Now, of course, the circumstances apply. If you're a priest, then switching from Christianity to something else would be more difficult. Same thing with a Islamic priest, or I don't even know what they have. Huh. Interesting. But whatever they have, them switching over to Christianity, it applies the same way. And so, of course, you have to consider that. But for the most part, most people aren't priests or higher ups in religions. So, in truth, it's not really that difficult for the average person to just convert over to another religion. It doesn't take a lot of time. That probably won't take any money, and that's pretty much that. You have it. Now, changing your name, it takes slightly more effort, and when you change your name, I mean, it takes more money to do it, because I'm pretty sure in most places it does cost money too. I never knew that. And it also takes a lot of time to do it, because it's not just like, oh, you go in and get it changed and you're out. It's more complicated than that, like, obviously, because that affects all of your records, and they need to make sure that they're up to date. So it wouldn't be very great if everyone was just changing it every other day, and you know. So now, though, we get to nationality. To change your nationality, the amount of time and the amount of money that it requires is something that is huge in comparison to how much time and money it takes to change your religion or your name. Because in order to change your nationality, you usually need to move to another country, naturalize in it, like become a full real citizen, and likely assimilate. If that's not one of the requirements, even then it might still be important, because I mean, if I'm an American and I go to China and if I'm not acting like a Chinese person, I'm still wouldn't really call my nationality Chinese yet. And so that's something you have to consider. Now, there's a lot of people in America who hate America and probably would love to leave it, but they can't. And so what this means for us is that the people who dislike America are the people who use the argument of, well, you don't choose your country to be born in, so it's foolish to be proud of it. Those are the same people who use that argument, who are also obviously the ones who aren't proud of their country, which is, in most cases, the US, because that's where I've heard it the most. I have never seen someone online say that from not the US. So that's the other thing you have to look at. And then, I mean, that's a very small but loud group of people, and the majority of people are actually, well, more nice to the US, and they do actually are proud of it. They are actually proud of their country, and, well, that's kind of an obvious point to make, but yeah, that's just what's going on here. And this argument, to really quickly just go through it because you may have gotten confused, like, what's the actual point of this? Well, there's more things to be proud of a nation of than just being born there, because, I mean, I could be born in a place with barely any history, barely any culture, barely any reason to even exist, or anything that makes it unique or interesting, and it'd be very difficult to be proud of that, because there's nothing there. There's no substance, no subject material to go off of to be proud of. But when you're in a country like America, when you have so much that you can look at and say, wow, look at this, or say, wow, look at that, it's very different. So you might be in a country like South Sudan, which has been around for 15 years and doesn't have much to show for itself, and then you may look at the US and you'll see that one of these countries has a very great history, culture, and the other one is kind of just there, and it would be pretty obvious from there to say, well, I mean, in the great country of South Sudan, it's not going to be as easy to be proud of the country if that's your nationality than it is for a person of American nationality to be proud of America. And so this argument is just dumb. I think it is really dumb. There's tons of reasons to be proud of your country. You're never going to say that you should be proud of your country because you were born there. And this argument makes a huge fallacy in that, when trying to come up with a reason as to why having a love for your country or being proud of your country is dumb. And so, yeah, that's pretty much what this is about. There's more I could talk about. I could talk about how people actually use this, like, online and even in the real world, and if there are actually people, like, not in the US who use this. And there's a lot of other things and other subjects I could touch or bring to light with this here, but honestly, I'm pretty glad how this turned out already, and so that is where I am going to just put it. So yeah, that's the argument against the idea that you didn't choose where you were born, so it is dumb to be proud of it. Oh yeah, and by the way, the argument I made about how it becomes more difficult to be proud of your nation when there's less to be proud for also applies to other people if they try and make an argument for if your nation is good or not. So yeah, just remember that. Okay, so this is a few hours after what you just heard. I was putting in everything that you saw during that, and I took out some stuff I added in that part at the end there. And wow, I did not really expect that this video would actually get to 15 minutes when I first saw how long the intro clip was and the actual clip of me talking about this, but I guess it did. And so, yeah, that was basically just an argument for a dumb or against a dumb idea. And I think that if you think that it is not smart to, or it is not unwise to be proud of where you come from or your nation, then there might be another argument for that. Maybe just maybe I could have some sympathy for it. Maybe I don't. But this one to me was just very clearly off. And yeah, that's what I wanted to say. So I will be going now. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. I guess like it. That's the first time I'm telling people to like and subscribe, even though I'm not telling. But never mind. But yeah, if you enjoyed it, just do the stuff. And yeah, I'm out.